If someone had told me years ago that the man I married, the man I trusted with my life, would not only betray me, but also manipulate my 3 daughters, and even try to lure my teenage granddaughter, I would have laughed in their face. But life has a cruel way of showing you who a person truly is. My name is Patricia Morgan, and this is the story of how one man nearly destroyed 4 generations of my family, and how I crawled through hell to save them. Before you judge me, before you say, I would have seen the signs, trust me when I say this. Monsters don't always break down your door. Sometimes they open it for you, smiling. I met Michael Jones when I was 37, a woman who had clawed her way into success with nothing but grit and a tiny clothing shop cramped enough to suffocate any dream. Men underestimated me, women whispered about me, and the world back then wasn't kind to ambitious women. Then he walked in. Tall, handsome, charming, eyes full of warmth that made me feel like I was finally being seen after years of being invisible. Michael was only 22, 15 years younger, fresh out of college with perfect skin and a perfect smile. But somehow he made me feel like I was the one who sparkled. He helped me organize invoices, helped reorder stocks, taught me bookkeeping hacks, and slowly taught me to open the rusted, locked-up door of my heart. I wasn't looking for love. I wasn't even looking for companionship. But the way he looked at me, as if I was more than just a businesswoman, it felt like someone had finally turned a light back on inside me. Little did I know, he wasn't turning on a light. He was studying the wiring, learning where the switches were, and preparing to burn the whole house down. We got married. People called me foolish. They whispered that he was using me, but Michael defended me every time. Let them talk, sweetheart. I love you. That's all that matters. And I believed him. We grew our business together, opened more stores, expanded into different cities. He handled the finances, I handled the operations. We were a power team. Then something happened I never thought possible. I became a mother at 41. My daughters were my miracles. Marta, the quiet, artistic one. Lydia, the fiery, outspoken one. Rachel, my baby, the sensitive and brilliant one. Michael was the perfect father, or so I thought. He read them bedtime stories, braided their hair, packed their lunches. He became the center of their universe, and the center of mine. But love blinds you, and in my blindness, I missed the first cracks. The late-night trips, the motel receipts, the whispered phone calls. I told myself, he's tired, he's stressed, he's young, maybe he just needs space. I made excuses that later became the rope he used to strangle my entire family. I walked into my office one afternoon and found Michael with my secretary on my desk. The same desk where I signed the checks that built our empire. My world shattered. But what hurt more? How he spun the story. How he told my daughters that I was jealous, emotional, unstable. How he turned them against me, one by one, until the divorce tore the last piece of my heart out. He won custody of their trust. I won the stores. But even then, I didn't know that the betrayal I saw was nothing compared to the betrayals that were coming. Years later, Marta, my eldest, freshly divorced and emotionally fragile, started spending time with her father. I thought it was normal. I thought she needed comfort. I thought she was healing. Then I heard the rumor. Then I confirmed it. My daughter, the child I raised, was dating my ex-husband. My heart didn't break. It imploded. I tried to talk to her. I tried to warn her, but Marta looked me dead in the eyes and said the sentence that still haunts me at night. Mom, he loves me, not you. From that day on, I understood something painful. You can lose your husband, but losing your daughter to that same man is a grief that words can never contain. But that wasn't even the worst part, because after he finished with Marta, after he drained her dry emotionally and financially, he moved on to the next one, my second daughter, Lydia, and then my youngest, Rachel. And just when I thought the nightmare had reached its peak, I discovered he had begun sending secret messages to my 14-year-old granddaughter. That's when I stopped crying and started fighting. You might think that after watching her sister fall into that twisted relationship, Lydia would have stayed far, far away. But no, pain makes people blind. Jealousy makes them stupid. And Michael was a master at turning women against each other. When Marta and Michael broke up, Michael didn't wait even a week before he started comforting Lydia. Comforting. That's the word he used. He knew she envied Marta growing up. He knew her weak spots. He knew exactly what to say. One day, Lydia came to my house, standing in my doorway with arms crossed, eyes burning with defiance. She said, "Mom, I know you're not going to like this, but Dad and I are together now, and we're happy." Happy. That word felt like acid on my skin. Happy? After everything he had done? I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab her shoulders and shake sense into her. But I didn't. Because a mother doesn't scream when her child is drowning. She reaches out. "Lydia," I said gently, "this isn't love. You're vulnerable. He's manipulating you." Her response? She laughed. Laughed in my face. "You're just jealous, Mom. You couldn't keep him. Now you don't want any of us to be happy." Those words pierced deeper than any knife. I felt something inside me crack that day. Something maternal. Something sacred. But that pain was nothing compared to what came next. After he finished with Marta, after he drained her dry, emotionally and financially, he moved on to the next one. My second daughter, Lydia. And then, my youngest, Rachel. And just when I thought the nightmare had reached its peak, I discovered he had begun sending secret messages to my 14-year-old granddaughter. That's when I stopped crying and started fighting. You might think that after watching her sister fall into that twisted relationship, Lydia would have stayed far, far away. But no. Pain makes people blind. Jealousy makes them stupid. And Michael was a master at turning women against each other. When Marta and Michael broke up, Michael didn't wait even a week before he started comforting Lydia. Comforting. That's the word he used. He knew she envied Marta growing up. He knew her weak spots. He knew exactly what to say. One day, Lydia came to my house, standing in my doorway with arms crossed, eyes burning with defiance. She said, "Mom, I know you're not going to like this, but Dad and I are together now, and we're happy." Happy. That word felt like acid on my skin. Happy? After everything he had done? I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab her shoulders and shake sense into her, but I didn't. Because a mother doesn't scream when her child is drowning. She reaches out. "Lydia," I said gently, "this isn't love. You're vulnerable. He's manipulating you." Her response? She laughed. Laughed in my face. "You're just jealous, Mom. You couldn't keep him. Now you don't want any of us to be happy." Those words pierced deeper than any knife. I felt something inside me crack that day. Something maternal. Something sacred. But even that pain was nothing compared to what came next. After he finished with Lydia, after he drained her dry the same way he discarded Marta, coldly, callously, without remorse, I prayed Rachel would never fall for him. Rachel was the most sensible one, the most observant, the one who stayed by my side after the divorce, my last connection to sanity. But predators don't go for obvious prey. They go for the bright ones, the sweet ones, the ones who think they're too smart to be fooled. Rachel started dressing up more, wearing perfume she never used, leaving the house late, coming home smelling like Michael's cologne. I confronted her. "Rachel," I said, "Rachel, are you seeing him?" Her eyes flickered. Fear, guilt, hope, confusion, all at once. She whispered, "Mom, Dad says he made mistakes with Marta and Lydia, but I'm different. He says I'm the one he should have been with all along." I felt my soul leave my body. Not because of the words, but because I saw the exact same hypnotized look that Marta and Lydia had once worn. The same look I once had. That look told me one thing. He had her. Completely. I became a storm. One day, I came home earlier than I had expected from the Santa Monica store. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Then I heard laughter coming from Rachel's room. A soft laugh I recognized, my daughter's, and a deeper one I knew far too well. My heart seized. "No, no," I whispered. "Not in my house. Not with my baby." I pushed open the door, and there they were. Michael, Rachel, on her bed. Her bed. The same bed I bought her when she started college. The same bed where she used to sleep curled up against me during thunderstorms. The scream inside me was so loud that no sound came out. Michael jumped up. Rachel covered herself, trembling. Mom, please let me explain." I didn't want an explanation. I wanted him dead. But all I could manage was get out of my house. He tried to speak. I raised my hand, and he shut up immediately. That terrified him, and in that moment, I realized a mother's rage is something even a monster fears. Rachel left with him, and I collapsed. Literally. I woke up in a hospital bed 2 days later, surrounded by beeping machines and cold white walls. I asked the nurse, "Did my daughters come?" She hesitated. "No, ma'am. Only your neighbor visited." 3 daughters, all stolen by the same man, and none of them came to see if I was alive. That day, I stopped being a victim. I became something else. I thought losing my daughters was the worst thing Michael could do to me. I was wrong. Because the day I saw the message he had sent my 14-year-old granddaughter, Aaliyah, I felt something inside me die and something else be born. The message said, "When you turn 18, I want to give you a special present, something only for us. Don't tell your mom, our little secret." Our little secret. That phrase ignited every maternal instinct I ever had. He wasn't just a manipulator. He wasn't just a narcissist. He wasn't just a con man. He was a predator. A creeping, calculating predator slithering his way through the women of my family one generation at a time. That's when it hit me. If I didn't stop him now, if I didn't take action, I might not lose not just my daughters, but the next generation too. I wiped my tears, looked at myself in the mirror, and made a vow. Michael Jones, you took my girls, but you will not take my granddaughter. I will end you. And that's exactly what I plan to do. Because what Michael didn't know was that I had someone on my side, someone he fired years ago, someone loyal only to me. Together, we would uncover the truth, the offshore accounts, the forged documents, the secret companies, the missing money, and the final plan he had to destroy me completely, using my own daughters as weapons. Her name was Carmen Ruiz, my old accountant, sharp as a razor, loyal to a fault, and the only person who ever dared question Michael's financial choices. He fired her the moment she asked about 3 suspicious wire transfers. I didn't think much of it then. Now it made perfect sense. I called her to meet me at a small cafe in Silver Lake. When she saw the bruise on my face, a bruise Rachel had accidentally given me while pushing past me to follow Michael, Carmen grabbed my hands and whispered, "Tell me everything. I've been waiting for this day." We talked for hours. Every file, every transfer, every signature Michael forged, every property he moved from my name to his, every business he set up in secret. As she spoke, I felt like I was drowning. And then she showed me something that shattered me completely. A financial trust Michael created overseas. Guess who the beneficiaries were? Marta, Lydia, Rachel, and Aaliyah Johns, my granddaughter. His plan was simple: gain their loyalty, make them dependent on him, and eventually cut me out of my entire empire. A circle of women he controlled financially, mentally, emotionally. I felt my hands shake. "How do we stop him?" I whispered. Carmen leaned forward, voice low and sharp. "You don't stop him. You expose him, piece by piece. You let him hang himself." That was the beginning of the end. To expose a master manipulator, you must become a better master manipulator. So Carmen and I formed a plan, a dangerous plan, a plan that required me to act weaker, sicker, more broken than I actually was. We needed him to let his guard down. We needed him desperate. We needed him to come to me. So we started with the first step. I disappeared. I stopped calling my daughters, stopped showing up to stores, stopped making payments, made myself look fragile, almost dying. And, as expected, Michael came running. Not out of guilt, not out of love, but because he needed something. The stores, the deeds, the authority I still had on the businesses. He arrived at my house one evening, uninvited, with fake concern on his face, the same expression he used to win over each of my daughters. He said, "Patricia, you look unwell." I forced a cuff, a weak smile. "Life has been hard. I'm tired, Michael. I don't know how much time I have left." His eyes sparkled. Hope. This man actually looked hopeful at the idea of me dying. It took everything inside me not to slap that hope off his face. "What do you need?" I asked him gently. And he said the words I expected. "I just need you to sign one last paper." I nodded. "Bring it tomorrow." Then I closed the door before his snake-like smile could infect the air. What he didn't know was that Carmen and I had already obtained copies of his secret documents. And the moment he would present his forged papers, we'd be ready. The next day, Marta, Lydia, and Rachel came with him. All three. Together. My babies. My girls. Standing behind the man who had destroyed us. Michael had prepared them, trained them, brainwashed them. Marta's arms were crossed. Lydia's jaw was tight with anger. Rachel's eyes were swollen from crying. Marta spoke first. "Mom, why are you trying to ruin Dad's life?" "Dad." She said Dad. "I raised her. I fed her. I worked 2 jobs to pay for her school. And she called him Dad?" But I kept my face calm. "I'm not ruining anything," I whispered. "I only want the truth." Michael stepped forward with false pity. "Patricia, please. We're all tired of fighting. Let's settle this peacefully." Then he placed a file in front of me. This was it, the final transfer, the final step to erase me from my own empire. Before I could even touch it, Rachel snapped, "Sign it, Mom, please! Why can't you just stop being difficult?" My heart cracked, but I kept my face calm. And then, Michael made a mistake. A big one. He leaned forward and whispered, thinking no one else could hear. "Once you sign, they'll all be mine. Forever." He forgot something. My granddaughter, Aaliyah, was standing behind the door, recording everything. Because Carnan had secretly told her the truth. And Aaliyah believed me, not him. Her recording captured everything, every word, every confession. Aaliyah pushed open the door. Her face was pale, her hands shaking, phone still recording. "Mom? Aunt Marta? Aunt Lydia?" She whispered, voice trembling. Then she hit play. Michael's whisper filled the entire room. "Once you sign, they'll all be mine. Forever." The silence that followed felt like a thunderstorm ready to split the world in half. Marta's face drained of color. Lydia stepped back like she had been slapped. Rachel covered her mouth, choking on her sobs. Michael's eyes went wild. He turned on her phone. Her child. Our very own Aaliyah. "Turn it off," he shouted at Aaliyah. She didn't. She raised the phone higher. And then she said the words that saved us all. "Grandma, I believe you." But this wasn't over, because when a manipulator gets exposed, they don't give up. They become dangerous. And what Michael did next nearly destroyed everything I thought to protect. The moment Michael realized he'd been caught, something inside him snapped. His mask fell. The charming smile disappeared. His soft voice hardened. His eyes turned sharp, cold, predatory. He grabbed the papers from the table. 2 hours later, police sirens sounded outside my home. Not for me, for him. Because Carmen had already filed reports with evidence, messages, recordings, bank transfers, forgeries, and the offshore accounts he created in my daughter's names. Every crime, every lie, every dirty thread he ever spun, undone by the very women he tried to enslave. They found him in his apartment, packing bags, preparing to flee the country. He didn't even fight. Manipulators never fight when the truth has nowhere to hide. He simply lowered his head and muttered, "Patricia, you ruined everything." I looked him in the eyes. "No, Michael, you ruined yourself." They took him away in handcuffs, and for the first time in 20 years, I could breathe. The days after Michael's arrest were heavy. My daughters couldn't even look me in the eyes at first. One evening, Marta knocked on my door. Her voice was small, fragile. "Mom, how do we apologize for everything?" I opened my arms, and she collapsed into them. Then Lydia, then Rachel. 3 daughters, all manipulated, broken, ashamed. And I held them like I held them when they were babies. "You were victims," I said softly. "You were never the enemy." We cried together, laughed through tears, broke and rebuilt in the same breath. The healing was slow, but it was real. Aaliyah hugged me too, whispering, "Grandma, thank you for saving us." But I didn't save them. We saved each other. Months later, after trials and hearings, Michael received years of prison time for fraud, manipulation, financial abuse, forging signatures, exploiting vulnerable women. But there was one last twist. When Carmen and I dug deeper into his offshore trust, we found one more name, a name that froze my blood. Sophia Jones. A child, not mine, not my daughter's, his. A child he had with another woman years ago, hidden, controlled, financially trapped just like us. Another victim, another life he was trying to claim ownership of. I made a decision, one final act of reclaiming power. I hired a lawyer, traced the woman down, and offered her support to protect her daughter. Because the cycle would end with me. With us. With this family. Today, when I stand in my stores and see my daughters running the business beside me, when I see Aaliyah smiling again, when I see Carmen back in her rightful place, I realize something. Michael didn't destroy us. He united us. He shattered every lie, every illusion, every false bond. And what remained was the truth. 4 generations of women, broken but unbowed, damaged but unbroken, wounded but still standing. We rebuilt our empire from the ashes. And this time, no man, no charm, no manipulation, no monster will ever take it away from us again. Because now we know our worth. And if you're wondering whether monsters walk among us, trust me, they do. But sometimes the strongest warriors are the women who survive them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this.